Bitcoin has had a pullback back down to $88,000. And the question on everyone's mind right now is, if we are going to go down lower and create a new low for Bitcoin, how bad is this? Guys, today, I'm going to talk you through exactly this, what I see on the charts right now, as well as what's going on behind the scenes, because there's huge things happening behind the scenes, guys, which I need to share with you. We do have some indications about what the next major move is going to be, so make sure to stick around from the beginning until the end of it. Bitcoin, this is actually pretty interesting because Bitcoin has had a pullback, and you can see that we got supported right at my orange line. That's why it's so important to keep note of these orange lines here, because this, at least in the short term, has been acting as support for Bitcoin. We've seen a little bit of a bounce here. So what does this mean for the short term, for the immediate short term as well, like from the micro term, if you will? So in the short term, what we can see is that we still have, of course, this downtrend right here. However, we were starting to see a potential reversal from the downtrend here with the consecutive, not only higher lows, but also a bit of a trend of potentially making higher highs here. Now, as you know, I've been saying throughout the entirety here, I've been saying still be careful, because this does not mean anything until we break through the key levels at 95K. And the more important one is at 102K with the 365-day moving average and the 50-week moving average. So I have been cautious with this entire move, even though from a technical standpoint, yes, on the immediate short term, on the very short term time frame, I am seeing that we have a potential bottoming pattern right here. So that is still good, and that is still intact, guys. You can still see that we have this low right here. We have this low right here, and if this is the low and we see a bounce from this point, then that's all good. And we still have the trend of making these consecutive highs as well. So on the very short time frames, we still have this bullish pattern potentially like unfolding right now, okay? So that is still good. However, if we zoom out a little bit more, then we still have also this thing right here. And this is, if you will, a equal high here. And yes, the lows has been reversed as long as we don't go back down to $80,000 or $85,000 and put in a lower close of the candles. So that's still looking pretty good in the very short time frame. It's still looking decent because we're holding up the support. This can all change if we go down and we take out these lows right here. Then this short-term bullish trend has been canceled. However, this still looks pretty decent on the very short time frames. In the short time frames, that is a bit more. If we zoom out, you can still see, though, that we do still have a bit of a bearish trend here towards the downside. However, in the midterm, in 2026, I still believe that we're going to put in a new high. So in the meantime, all my strategies are just going to trade this back and forth here. And that is all great. Now, if you look at Ethereum, Ethereum is holding up $3,000, my orange line as well. Solana has been breaking down here. Traditional markets are actually doing pretty good. Traditional markets saw a green candle when they closed on Friday. So let's see when this opens up tomorrow evening, the futures market, if we can see some follow-through here. But yes, overall, it's still just like a patience game right now. We're just waiting for Bitcoin to play out the time capitulation. We already had price capitulation when we went down by 30%. A lot of people, they started to sell Bitcoin and they exited the crypto space. And this is going to happen more as time goes on, and we just go sideways and sideways and sideways until we slowly start to go up in 2026. That's what I believe is going to happen. So we will see a lot of time capitulation throughout this time frame where people lose hope in Bitcoin, lose hope in crypto. They get bored, they start to sell. And then when everyone has sold based on price going down and based on time with prices not pumping, then we can see another massive uptrend, which, like I said, I believe is going to happen in 2026. Now, let us continue. And I want to talk about the CEO of BlackRock. He went on to a panel yesterday, and he said that he's seeing sovereign wealth funds accumulating Bitcoin at 80K, even at 120K, they were buying Bitcoin. And they see Bitcoin as a long-term hold rather than a trade. That's good. So Bitcoin is being transferred from weaker hands into stronger hands. Now, if you look at the amount of losses that we've seen for Bitcoin right now, it is actually much more than during the FTX collapse. So this is absolutely incredible. You can see the amount of losses being realized here is insane. So people are selling at a loss. This is part of the capitulation that I was talking about. People selling at a loss here, giving up on crypto. That's the best time usually to be buying. And you can see also right here when we saw this other spike, that was right at the bottom. And look at this also. This was also right at the bottom. Went down and made an equal bottom, yes. But that was the bottom and then we went up after that. So is it likely that we're going to put in a new low? I think that there's actually a decent chance still that this is the bottom for Bitcoin. Now, I know that that's dangerous to say because we're just, 8% from that bottom or 10% or so. But I think that there's a good chance that this was actually the bottom at 80K. So we will see if that's going to be the, I'm not prepared for us to go back down here. I'm prepared even if we go a bit lower. But overall, I don't think they're going to see another like 40% down or 30% down. I don't think that that's very likely. So we will see if that's going to be the case or not. Let us continue here. So prediction markets also are very bearish. The market right now believes that there's a higher chance that we go down to 80K rather than going up to 110K. So look at this. 100K is 30%. So 80K is 39. So people actually believe that it's more likely that we go back down to 80K rather than go back up to 100K. For me, this is a good opportunity in the market because people are so bearish right now. Let me continue. So one other data point is that large holders of Bitcoin are moving their Bitcoin and starting to sell. So that's a little bit on the bearish side. But again, this is part of the capitulation as well, the time capitulation and the price capitulation. So transferring Bitcoin from weaker hands into stronger hands. US employers are cutting jobs like crazy. The economy is not doing too good. And this is actually the worst we've seen since 2020. So this means that they are probably going to start stimulating the economy sooner rather than later. And again, that's good for our assets. So I'm trying to look at what's happening behind the scenes here. What kind of alpha can we gain from all of these data points? Well, one is that the market is incredibly bearish right now, which, like I said, could prove a good opportunity for us if we have patience and if we have a long-term vision. Now, another thing is that President Trump is preparing to speak with China to decide whether NVIDIA are allowed to sell chips to China. So that's also going to be huge. This could be good for the economies overall. Also, spot crypto can now start to be traded on CFTC regulated US exchanges, more liquidity. And this is also huge. More and more of these things are happening for every day that goes by. And we are primed, guys. When we see another bullish trend for Bitcoin, everything is like, I have no reason to change my opinion that we're going to see a new high in 2026. And as always, guys, we will see if that's going to be the case or not.